Ilia Topuria just knocked out Max Holloway at UFC 308 in one of the best cards I've ever seen, one of the best cards of the year. I went 11 for 13 on my picks, 5 for 5 on the main card. And I told y'all, do not fall for the hype. I know a lot of people were picking Holloway and Whitaker, and it's just, I knew that they weren't going to win. There was no way we were going to see Holloway versus Volk 4. That just was not going to happen. That was not in the script. And Ilia Topuria, he's now undoubtedly the fighter of the year above Alex Pereira. And Pereira has had one of the best years a fighter has ever had. But Topuria topped it. He had, not only do I think that Topuria is the fighter of the year, I think that quality-wise, this is the best year any fighter has ever had. This is the best back-to-back wins in UFC history. The best 2 wins for a fighter's first 2 fights as the champion by far. And he's going to get another elite win in Volkanovski, which I do not want to see that fight. I don't want to see the rematch. I know that Volk has earned it. But let's be real, is anyone picking Volk in that fight? I don't see a path to victory for Volk. I just don't. Ilia, he is coming close to becoming the GOAT, especially in the featherweight division. Obviously, he's already passed a few of the fighters, one of them being, Conor McGregor. This goes without saying, McGregor, I don't want to do like a whole GOAT list for featherweight right now. I want to wait till, Volk and Ilia, the fight gets announced, maybe make that video in February. But we can all agree he's past Conor McGregor easily. Jose Aldo, he's past him. Jose Aldo has a lot of wins that help his overall GOAT status in bantamweight. But for featherweight, he does have good wins. The Moicano win is aging very well. He beat Chad Mendes twice. That's a good win. Frankie Edgar twice. That's a good win. The Korean Zombie, Prime, TKZ. But outside of that, he doesn't have a lot of quality wins, and he's lost to everyone that was elite in the division. Pretty much almost every other champ. He lost to McGregor, lost to Volk, lost to Holloway twice. He just doesn't have a great argument to be the featherweight GOAT. I get he beat a bunch of other guys. I think he has the most title defenses, I'm pretty sure, in featherweight. But he's just not the GOAT. And Ilia has surpassed him. He just has, in my eyes. Holloway, again, even better wins. The Charles Oliveira win, let's be real, that was a fluke victory. And that wasn't prime Charles. That was Charles before he was a father. But he has so many good wins. I couldn't even list all of them. There are so many. But it's tough because how do you rank it? Yes, Holloway right now has the better resume. Arguably, even then, I still think it's questionable. But Ilia has proven that he's the better fighter. So yes, I've said before, my highest criteria is resume. Who has the best resume? But it's weird in cases like this for fighters who have fought each other. Because Ilia has proven he's better than Holloway and he's better than Volk. So with that being said, I really think that he's not there yet. He's not there yet. He's not the featherweight GOAT yet. But he's only a few wins away. I mean, if he beats Volk again, and it's one of those things where Volk, yes, everyone's picking Ilia. But that's not because Volk is trash or he's washed or anything like that. Volk looked great in their fight. It's just a horrible stylistic matchup. It's just that Ilia is that good. Same thing with Holloway. Ilia was almost a 3-1 favorite, which I didn't agree with, but still. It's not because Holloway's washed or, Holloway, the weight cut, he just didn't look the same. No, it's just Ilia is that good. Max, he said that he wasn't injured. He felt great. And he looked great. Just like Volk. Volk looked great in their fight. It's just Ilia is that good. And I really don't mean to glaze, Ilia is one of my favorite fighters. In my prediction video, I said that I'm one of the only people on the planet that's rooting for Ilia. He's one of my favorite fighters. I like Holloway too. It's just I like Ilia more. I was so happy when he won. It's better for the sport too, because now we're talking about Ilia Topuria versus Islam, which I don't think Islam's going to get past Arman. But if he does, I'm picking Ilia to beat him. It's just the fact that Islam, if he can't submit Poirier till the 5th round, and Poirier, black belt, whatever, I don't think that he's as good of a grappler as Ilia. Dustin Poirier isn't. And if Poirier had 22 minutes, 23 minutes to knock out Islam, I don't think that Islam's going to submit Ilia. So if you're giving Ilia 25 minutes to land one punch, I just think that he's a good enough boxer to do it. Now, Islam is more defensively responsible than Max and Volk. With that being said, I still think that it's just a matter of time. In the Oliveira fight, it is true that Oliveira could not touch Islam. But if you rewatch it, some of those right hands were so close. They were so close. And Oliveira isn't the best striker. He's not the best with his hands. But I think even at welterweight, I'm not going to pick, him to beat Bilal or anything. But it would be, he has a shot. He has a real shot. Holloway, I still would rank him above Ilia right now. But if he beats Volk again, which I know he's predicted to beat Volk, but it's still a great win. He has back-to-back-to-back all-time wins. That would be the greatest 3 wins in a row in UFC history, and it's not even close. 2 top 10 fighters of all time. And Max was coming off of arguably, outside of maybe the Aldo wins, probably the best win of his career against Justin Gaethje. He looked amazing. And the weight cut, he didn't even look drained. It looked like it was a really good weight cut. It was a matter of time. I predicted this. The reason I predicted this is because even though the commentators were like, oh, like DC, he never does his homework. When he was like, oh, I've never seen Max hurt like that. It's like, okay, dude. If you watch the second Poirier fight, I think in the first or second round, it was like 40 seconds left and he got rocked bad. Kind of similar to the Ilia thing, except without the knockdown. And he also got knocked down by Justin Gaethje. It was like a flash knockdown, but still. But yeah, I don't know if he's past Max yet. He also has, I know people were saying before, oh, well, he's beat no one to get to the title. Bryce Mitchell is not a bum just because Ilia and Emmett knocked him out. Bryce Mitchell beat Dan Ige, who I get just lost. But Bryce Mitchell is good. He's like a legit grappler. And he's not horrible on the feet either. He just doesn't have a ton of pop. Josh Emmett, another guy. Yes, he lost, I think it was the fight with Calvin Kattar, I think, that he lost, but they gave him the win. He also lost to Yair Rodriguez, not elite, just like Mitchell, but still a good win. Even Jai Herbert, I get that was at, I think, lightweight. Jai Herbert is still a good fighter, a good striker. But I think Ilia, based on the quality of his wins, could rival Volkanovski. Now, Volkanovski, I get it. He's a top 3 fighter of all time, in my opinion. He beat Max Holloway 3 times. Ilia's only done it once, but Ilia finished him. He did it more impressively. He also beat prime Jose Aldo, Chad Mendes, Yair Rodriguez, Ortega. I get that resume-wise, it's tough to beat that. But Ilia has a win over him, and he's about to have 2 wins over him. And Max Holloway, and his win against Max Holloway was better than all 3 of Volk's wins. So I think, in my opinion, what does Ilia need to do to become the featherweight GOAT? He just needs to beat Volk in the rematch, knock him out in the rematch, and then he needs one more win. He just needs to beat a guy like Diego Lopez, have Lopez fight the winner of Aljo Evelev, and then you're going to have a real number one contender. Even Evelev or Aljo, whoever wins that fight, and if they beat Lopez, then they'll be a really good number one contender. Ilia has to beat them, and then he's the featherweight GOAT. He just is. I mean, the quality of wins. And lastly, I know that people are going to say, oh, well, Volk, he just wasn't the same. He just wasn't the same when he fought Ilia. I'm so glad that he knocked out Holloway so that we could put that, just such a false narrative, just out. If he knocked out fresh Max Holloway, completely healthy, no, Volk did not lose because, his chin's just gone. Yes, the only thing the knockout against Islam affected maybe his confidence, but even then, he just would have gotten knocked out earlier. He would have been, I'm more confident to, swing in the pocket with him. He would have got knocked out in the first round then. I think that actually would have been worse. He was always going to get knocked out. It's just a bad stylistic matchup. But yeah, that's what I think. Again, I'll do another video with this format later on, in a few months, once Volk versus Ilia is officially made, and then, a whole featherweight GOAT tier list in depth. But that's just what I think. I think Ilia's really close to becoming the featherweight GOAT. One, maybe 2 wins away. And I think that he's probably top 10 all time. Maybe top 15, but the quality of wins, and if he beats Islam or even Arman and he becomes champ after beating Volk again, let's be real. He's 3 wins away from becoming a top 5 fighter of all time, in my opinion. If he beats Volk again, and then Diego Lopez, and then Islam, come on. You can't argue with that. But yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know who you picked. How many wins away is Ilia from becoming the featherweight GOAT? And how many wins away is he from becoming a top 10 fighter? Or is he already there? But yeah, let me know what you think. And yeah,